Hello YouTube, this is shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another wrestling review. I'm of course joined by my cohort and fellow internet superstar, Joe. Say hi, Joe. He's kind of upset. Sorry about last night. To my viewers who were expecting a SummerSlam review, I had done a review with my two friends, Jesse and Izzy, but sadly it kind of ran over, and I tried splitting it into two clips, but they just kind of butchered the clip, and it was unwatchable at that point. So to my friends out there, I am very sorry, and next time I'll take the proper precautions. But anyway, it's Monday night. You know what that means. Time for some Raw. Last night, we had a lot of unanswered questions. Will we get any answers tonight? I got my notes. Let's get started. Triple H comes out, and he has a lot of questions. He's got a lot to answer for. Not just for the fact that he made a bad officiating call in the Cena Punk match, but also his connection to Big Sexy Kevin Nash. He says that he will be apologizing to Cena face to face later tonight because, well, it was his fault that he lost the match. So there's that. But he also can't blame. So he also has the pleasure of introducing the new undisputed world champion, the Rey de Reyes of Mexico, Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio comes out and cuts a pretty decent promo, much better than he has been cutting lately, and says that tonight he will beat Rey Mysterio and retain his championship. We'll just see how well he does. First match, R-Truth versus the sexy John Morrison in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, this was actually a pretty good match between these two. The Truth was in control of it most of the time. The fighting spread all over the outside, but in the end, there was the ending was a very amazing spot. R-Truth brought out one of the chairs, one of the recliners that they have out there for people, and I don't know what he was doing, but somehow John Morrison suplexes him into the chair perfectly, then does a running knee, and that ends the match. Great way to end this match. And I have to say, this was good for John Morrison. He really needed the win. But hopefully this isn't the end of the feud. Yeah. Next up, The Miz comes out and touting his appearance on SummerSlam. He then calls out Jared from Subway. Yeah, that Jared. He's still looking good, and he likes to eat the Subway sandwiches. He says that he cuts a small little commercial for the new Subway Chicken Crisp sandwich, which, surprisingly enough, makes me hungry for Subway. And I don't even like Subway. Joe was hungry too. Anyway, next match, Kelly and Eve versus the Bella Twins. I could not be any more interested in this match than I already am. This was just a bland match. Kelly still cannot run the fucking ropes to save a life. So long story short, female Cena and Eve win. Then Natty and Beth Phoenix come out, now known as the Divas of Doom or the Divas of Destruction, whatever. I like the name, and applaud them. Yeah, enjoy that title. And surprisingly enough, despite them being heels, they got a much better pop than Kelly and Eve Torres did. In fact, they got a better pop than the Bellas. I'm saying something. Next up, Kevin Nash comes out to answer why he did what he did last night. Kevin, who I think might have had a little bit of the liquid courage before coming out, rambles on how he came out he did it because Triple H wanted him to do it, to take out the winner, whoever it was, regardless if it was Cena or Punk. Punk comes out and says that while he isn't mad at Alberto Del Rio cashing in the Money in the Bank contract, which was classy, he is mad at Kevin Nash, and he proceeds to verbally rip Kevin Nash apart. I mean, Vic Sexy seemed out of his element dealing with Punk. And really, to say that to say that Nash is the most charismatic man in the history of the WWE, yeah, right after The Rock, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, CM Punk, who else? Who's more charismatic? I can go on, but really, it's a long list, Nash, and you're way at the bottom. And then he goes on to say, well, I can show you, and well, Punk says he didn't believe that what Nash said, that Triple H asked him to do it. Nash goes on to say, well, I got the text message, I can show you. Then Punk makes one of the best burns I've ever seen. He says, well, my sister sent me a text message. Let me read it to you. WTF, Kevin Nash, LOL. I thought he was dead. LOL. That's right. CM Punk's sister thought that Kevin Nash was dead. So Punk tries to go up there and beat Kevin Nash and his rickety knees up, but he's protected by security. He decides that if he can't get at Nash, he'll get at Trips. Honestly, this promo didn't do Nash any favors. Don't get me wrong. I love Big Sexy. It's just that this promo, he really didn't look all that strong to me. Sorry, Kev. Next up, Alex Riley versus Jack Swagger with the power couple, Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero on commentary. Most of the match, they're just bickering back and forth about her breath and some other things. They're just bickering back and forth. The match in the ring was actually pretty good. Alex Riley still is hella over with the fans, and he's pretty much was showing a lot more in his repertoire than we've ever seen him. Then comes the most bizarre ending I've ever seen out of a match. Right when Alex Riley had the match in hand, Vicky Guerrero decides to take JR's signature cowboy hat for no reason, because I don't think I've heard him insult Vicky Guerrero or anything at that point in time. Wears it to the apron. The ref tells her to get off, but she puts the hat on the ref. Swagger takes his distraction, and then he goes for the most fucked up signature finisher maneuver I've ever seen. He went for his gut wrench power bomb, but it just looked terrible. Ugh. Guys, ugh. I know you haven't hit that move in a long time, Swagger, but damn, that looked sloppy. Real sloppy. In the end, Swagger picks up the win, and outside, for no apparent reason at all, Dolph decides to step on JR's hat, which even Michael Cole says was out of line. Yeah, he said that. Afterwards, we get a backstage segment with Vicky and Swagger. Swagger saying that Vicky's one of the greatest heel managers to have ever been in the business, and that like Bobby the Brain Heenan and Classy Freddie Blassie, she should have more than one prospect under her command. Never know. Next up, Punk and Steph have a little tete-a-tete. Not as good as it was last night, but still pretty good. And Punk was checking out Steph. I mean, Steph's hot. Next match, Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne versus David Otunga and Joe Perfect. And King brought up a very interesting point. He said that the tag champions were bland. And I have to agree. Now that there's no more Nexus, Otunga and Perfect just are blah. Don't worry. All that will rectify soon when the Kings get there. Anyway, it was a pretty decent tag match, but in the end, Kofi and Evan win the match. Main event time. Alberto Del Rio versus the hometown boy, Rey Mysterio, for the undisputed world title. This was probably one of the better matches, because these two have been in the ring with each other so many times that they know how to get the best out of each other. You can tell that Rey wasn't exactly feeling 100%, as some moves felt a little delayed and laggy. But it was a very close, very epic matchup. At one point, at the end comes when Rey hits the 619, then goes for his patented splash, but Alberto Del Rio gets the knees up. Then he goes for the roll up, 1, 2, 3. ADR retains in his first title defense. Then he decides to go overboard and just starts beating and torturing poor Rey, even biting his fingers while in the cross arm breaker. Cena comes out like a ball of fire, and ADR and Ricardo Rodriguez get the hell out of Dodge. He then grabs a mic and says that while he could be mad at a lot of people, he could be mad at Triple H, but he's more mad at Alberto Del Rio for the way he cashed in the title. He actually says that Punk was more of a champion than ADR is, and says that eventually he will get his hands on ADR and make him regret ever getting that title. And that's Raw. My verdict: it was a slightly better than average show. It still didn't answer a lot of the questions that we had from the previous night, but the confrontation between Punk and Nash would have been better if Punk didn't make Nash look like a complete and total joke on the mic. We had some great matches. Alberto Del Rio was amazing in his first title defense, and pretty much that's it. So again, I'm sorry so before I end this video, I want to say I'm sorry to my friends Jesse and Izzy for not being able to process the video. You guys would have loved it. It was just us acting crazy and giving our thoughts on SummerSlam, and they gave some concise thoughts. And in the words of my friend Izzy, he says that Cena is a punk pussy bitch. His words. Joe really didn't like him. Well, he was manhandled during the video, so we'll leave it at that. But anyway, tune in this Thursday when I attempt to review Thursday Night Impact. Will Jeff Jarrett be any more of a racist dick than he already is? The countdown begins till I join the boycott. So until then, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe, saying goodnight and wrestle on.